You sure you want me to? You sure you want me? I'll just start walking.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Community Redevelopment Agency regular meeting. It is June the 11th. The time is 6:01, 6:02. Madam Clerk?
Chair Lanier,
Here.
Vice Chair Miller Anderson,
Present.
Commissioner Guyton, Commissioner Spiritus,
Here.
Commissioner Davis Paneer,
Here.
also present on the dais, Mayor Lawson,
Here.
Attorney Chris Smith with Pittman Law Group, Jadelle Mercius, Executive Director, Anita Jenkins, Director of Neighborhood Services, Shirley Desir, Interim CRA Clerk.
Thank you. Let's have a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance by Ms. Davis Prenier.
The flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any additions, deletions, or substitutions for this agenda that's before us this evening?
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, I would like to move 7A, resolution number 2025-11.
I'm sorry?
I would like to move resolution, that's on the regular agenda, so we don't have to do that. I thought it was on the consent agenda. I would just like to add the boundaries for the CRA district for discussion purposes.
Okay. Let the record reflect that Councilman Bruce Guyton is at the dais. Are there any other additions, deletions, or substitutions? I actually would like to pull 7A. I've got some numerous questions about this item. I don't think that it's ready. I think that there's a lot of things that have to happen in this item for it to be able to be palatable for me. I'm speaking for myself in regards to the CRA agreement. I think that in regards to the upcoming Marina project, that this is a part of it, so that needs to be discussed further. So I would like to have this pulled definitely into the next meeting. Yes, go ahead, sir.
I've noticed that space there has been open for 6 years. We have somebody now who's performed and also have produced the financial documents to justify that they can accomplish what they have indicated that they can. Last time I was on the dais, from 2013 to 2016, that's been over 10 years. Absolutely nothing has happened. Certainly, we should and will address your concerns, but to keep delaying it, I think that sends the wrong message. Whatever the issues are, we need to discuss them, vote on them, either move forward or vote it up or down. But to hold it, I don't think would be appropriate, but I do think that your concerns need and should and will be addressed But delaying it is, um, I don't think would be the right move right now. We need to send a message of progress, and that is not a message of progress. But your issues, let's flush them out.
Right.
Yeah.
And yes, I certainly understand that in regards to how you feel about this. This is a project that um, is going to run into some difficulties, given the fact that if this bottom floor is done, that top floor is of no use to anyone. Um, we have a whole marina project that is out that will be back in on the end of this month, and it's a part of this particular. It's a part of this. This restaurant is a part of that. There are things that need to be worked out. There's $200,000 that's in here for assistance. There's $300,000 if they do the top part. Those are some issues that I'm having some real heartburn with. And I understand that we need to have progress, but I also understand that we need to be able to ensure that the city's money, CRA's money is spent um, and according to what we're trying to accomplish here, but also too, we are looking at a bigger picture here. We're looking at the Marina project itself. And to have this as a part of the Marina project that has also been included in the RFP that is out now, this is going to have some significant, it's going to have significant blowback on this actual proposal that's out now. Because what are we looking for in regards to the people who are going to win this bid for the Marina project? Do we tell him to leave? Do we say to them that, because at that point it belongs to them in a sense? So I think we really need to have a conversation about that, and I wanted to do that offline.
Madam Chair?
But that's
Madam Chair?
up to the board. Yes, go ahead, Mayor, and then Mr. Spears.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I agree. The discussion needs to happen, and I think that's where we were pushing to have the discussion, but there's some other items that we want to continue to vet and have a discussion about. I don't know if the board would be amenable to having a discussion to kind of put some of the direction for staff to acknowledge on this item, because I know there's a few things that we've been working on with this. And me personally, I've been advocating for this restaurant for about 6 years, but I do want to make sure that those concerns are clearly vetted, properly put on the record, and then also addressed accordingly. Because as you stated, what's going to happen with the second floor, the build out, the cost, the amount that's being requested. I'm always, advocate for a local participation. So there's a few things that we want to maybe clear out and vet out on this project, but I'm full steam ahead of supporting this, but I want to make sure that this individual is working well with every board member, every concern is addressed, and we have it on the record to say this is what we want to do. So I don't want to delay it, but I do want to have this constant conversation, even if it's just a discussion item. So at least hearing it out versus pulling, Madam Chair, just so that we can put a few things on the record. But it's of course the pleasure of the board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Yes, thank you. Mr. Spears?
Madam Chair, I agree with everything that you're saying, but I do agree with my colleagues. I think that we should have the discussion. I have some recommendations that I think might resolve some of the issues that you may have. So this is really just a discussion tonight to give the staff direction to come up with a lease to bring back to us. And then at that point, we're able to amend it again. So I think we should have the discussion tonight and move forward and then wait for an actual final lease to come back to us where we're going to get to vote up or down. But I do have the same concerns. And like I said, I do think that I have some recommendations based on, I think we're in the same, we're thinking the same way right now. So I think we should just have the discussion and move on.
Madam Chair. Oh, no, first go ahead. I'm sorry.
Madam Chair,
Councilwoman.
I just want to say that I'm pretty much in agreement.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I was just saying that I'm pretty much in agreement. I would love to hear from the staff and from the presenters, just to get more of a foundation about this project. I will disclose that I have spoken with Mr. Dimitri, and that this project has been a long time coming. So I would love to get that information and see the presentation and have the discussion.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
We have someone who has invested in our community when others chose not to. We have someone who's been waiting for years for an opportunity to expand his operation. Um, Investors look at how we treat others, and for us to continue to delay and delay and delay when we have somebody who's given his blood, sweat, and tears to this community, for us to not entertain a motion, vote it up or down. If you don't want to vote for it, vote it up or down. But I think that the applicant deserves that after all of these years of waiting and investing. Now, let's say we vote it down. The question is, can we bring it back? I would think that we can, but that would be a legal question. So I'm not ready to delay. Quite frankly, I'm ready to put the motion on the floor because I ran because I was a little frustrated about nothing was going on at the Marina. And now when we have a project ready to roll and the master plan project, I'm not sure, it doesn't necessarily have to impact this location. We don't know what kind of proposal is going to come back to us. They may say they've been doing well. Let's let them stay. When I was on here before, we had 4 restaurants in line.
Madam Chair, point of order.
Yes, go ahead.
I think you have a consensus of keeping it on, so maybe we just need to kind of table the conversation until we get to the item, because at this point, it seems like everybody wants to hear it, except for you, maybe. We need to move the agenda.
I agree.
I agree. Hey, how you doing? Vice Chair?
Vice
I
Chair
agree, I
Anderson
agree.
Vice Chair Anderson is meeting through Zoom.
Yeah.
Let us, I don't want to, but let us move on. We have the consent agenda that is next. Actually, if there are not any additions, deletions, or substitutions other than the one that I suggested, are there any others before we adopt the agenda?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
would the board be amenable to having a discussion item about the Marina solicitation, the Marina Phase 2 solicitation? I know that that was a concern, but we do have a RFP currently out. But if we can have a discussion about just a little bit of the timeline, some clear direction, and a few concerns that I want to get on the record.
Are my colleagues amenable to that? Having a conversation about a timeline for the
Madam Chair,
Phase 2? Yes, go ahead, sir.
is there a code of silence right now that this is out on the street? We have not heard it yet. The city
Chair?
council's not heard
Yes.
it yet.
Hold on a second. Yes, go ahead, sir.
No, there is no cone of silence. Currently, we're in the RFQ phase right now.
If you are amenable to that, we will add that at the end of our agenda to discuss.
I'm fine with that.
Okay, very good. With that being added, Councilman Spiritus, you had something you said that you wanted to add as a
Yes,
discussion?
I want to discuss, for discussion purposes only, the boundaries of the CRA district.
Are you ready to talk about that, CRA Director?
Chair?
Yes,
Sure, yes, we are.
okay. Do my colleagues have any objections to that?
I don't.
I'm fine with it being on there. I'm not saying that I'm going to vote on something because I don't even know what the concern is. So
Okay,
I'm fine
very
with
good,
that.
very good. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda with the 2 added items of discussion of the RFQ Phase 2,
So
Marina,
moved.
and the CRA boundaries?
So moved as amended.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis Panir,
Yes.
Commissioner Guyton, Vice Chair Miller Anderson,
Yes.
Commissioner Spiritus, Chair Lawson, Chair Lanier. That
No,
motion passes 5-0.
no, I said no.
Oh, I apologize. Okay.
Thank you.
That motion passes 4-1 with Vice Lanier dissenting.
We're now at our consent agenda. Our consent agenda is what they consider to be routine board business. The consent agenda is approved by a single majority vote. Items may be removed for open discussion at the request of any Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency Commissioner. Are there any items that are listed on the consent agenda that you want to pull, colleagues? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Can I get a motion for it, please?
Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis Panir,
Yes.
Commissioner Guyton,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller Anderson,
Yes,
Commissioner Spiritus,
Yes.
Chair Lanier.
Yes,
That motion passes 5-0.
that is our consent agenda. We will move to our regular agenda. Item 7A.
Resolution number 2025-11, approving the proposed term sheet related to a lease agreement with Rafiki Tiki LLC with the Revere Beach CRA. The acceptance of public comment cards are now closed. Madam Chair, we have no comment cards.
Thank you. This item comes from a direction from the January 22nd meeting, where we were given the directive to form a lease agreement with Rafiki Tiki, or the representatives of Rafiki Tiki. We have done our due diligence, and we feel that a term sheet is available for review before we execute on the lease agreement. We would like to present this term sheet and along with the presentation with the representatives from Rafiki Tiki. Thank you.
Thank you. Is Ms. Jenkins going to present this?
Yes, she is.
Go ahead, Ms. Jenkins.
Good evening, Chair Lanier, Commissioners, and the Mayor. I'm here to present the item concerning the Rafiki Tiki term sheet. As you have heard, over the last few months, staff has endeavored to follow the direction of this board from the February meeting to bring back some terms that might result in a lease for the entire restaurant space here in the Marina Event Center. Over that time, staff has worked with Mr. Dimitri along with JLL to receive appropriate information to be able to analyze the request and to be able to bring back this draft term sheet. In your packet, we included the backup, and just to reiterate, there is an original lease and there are two amendments to the original lease that expanded the scope of the current lease agreement between Rafiki Tiki Bar and Grill and the CRA, and we included that in the packet for your information. Over the last several months, we received a business plan from Mr. Dimitri that outlined operations, it outlined the layout, the menu offerings, it provided some financial information, etc. All of the elements we think that should be prevalent in a good business plan. There were requests for additional information, primarily more detailed financial information that was provided to JLL under confidential cover, where our representatives at JLL provided some analysis and gave that to staff. So before you, we have a proposed lease term or that we want to discuss with you based on the conversation. And if you could give us some direction or reaction to some of the elements, then we would appreciate that in going forward. Mr. Dimitri Salum is here, and he has provided a PowerPoint that sort of outlines what the floor plan would look like, what some of the offerings are, if you're so inclined to hear from him during this presentation. And at the end of the meeting, whenever this meeting concluded, I believe he brought some sample items for yourselves and the public to be able to do a minor tasting, just to give you a flavor of some of the additional menu items that could be offered in this expanded restaurant space that will be undercover. And I'd just like to walk you through some of the highlights of the term sheet, and I'm able to stop or answer any questions that you may have. The proposal to lease would include the bottom floor. You may recall in the unsolicited request that Mr. Dimitri asked for the bottom floor and potentially the second floor as well. He would like to move ahead with the first floor with the first option to take on the second floor when it became available and if it became available based on your direction. The lease would commence on August 1st. And let me just point out that during this new lease term and during the construction, most of the operations that are in place now are planned to continue. So we would still have some restaurant offerings during the construction period. However, the expanded sidewalk area, and let me just call that the amended space, would have to be closed down for safety and for access for the construction. And he would endeavor to make sure that there were no significant impacts to operations here in the event center, et cetera, and that the construction process would be as contained as possible. We would use a standard lease form, which our attorney would prepare. And we are proposing a 5-year lease term with 3 5-year options to renew. And you may recall that he asked for a 10-year lease term, but we thought in light of changes in this area that 5 years with an option would give us more flexibility as an agency. There would be a 3% escalation on the lease, et cetera. Any taxes that are attributable to that space would be paid by the tenant. The lease would include CAM plus the insurance. He would pay the pro rata share of the operating expenses. He would pay for the CAM and insurance as they increase from time to time. And in the lease, there would be a date certain when there was an analysis to determine what the new rate should be. In addition to the basic rent, there would be an additional payment of $1,500 a month that would cover the outside space. And let me go back that the lease space would be rented at $22.50 triple net per square foot.
That mean, when you say triple net, what does that mean?
Means that he would pay the things that I just outlined, the rent plus, that would be the base rent plus the CAM charges, insurance, taxes, et cetera. They are not included in the $22.50. It would be $22.50 plus those things.
Okay, thank you.
Any signage would be subject to landlord's approval, and you question the $200,000 payment to assist with construction or build out. Tenant allowances are something that are usual when it comes to commercial space. And if you recall, we are carrying of 500,000. We were carrying 500,000, and it was, I think, in this year's capital budget it shows us 400,000, and it was always for the intent to do build out for the second floor or expansion for the restaurant. Mr. Dimitri did ask for 500,000, and we thought that was not reasonable at this point. So we negotiated, and we're coming back and suggesting 200,000 to contribute towards construction expense, with the remainder still available for whichever tenant takes the second floor space. If you recall, on the second floor terrace facing the water, the floor was never completed. And originally that money was set aside to at least finish some of those, to offer that for a tenant to build out the rest of the restaurant space. And in talking with Mr. Mercius, it would be staff's recommendation that the 200,000, while we might allocate it for this project, would not be payable until Mr. After we receive a development or construction budget, after Rafiki Tiki paid all of their money in, and then our money would come on the back end. That would ensure that we have a completed project. We wouldn't put our money up front, put it at risk, and not have construction be complete. So we'd be able to present it at the end, and that could be structured, and we could bring that back in the lease. Maintenance and repair, we'd be responsible for the structure, including the foundation, the roof, and exterior walls. And we thought it was important that the tenant be responsible for all plumbing, any roof penetrations, because they would have the venting, etc., the electrical, and any interior space maintenance and repairs that are required. You all may recall or know that we've had from time to time some plumbing issues. And it's because the plumbing is connected for this entire building. So in our discussions and negotiation, we talked about separating the plumbing so that it would not flow through or be connected to the event center. So our operations would not be impacted by anything at the restaurant. When you see the floor layout, you'll see that to expand the space, the restaurant would have all new bathrooms, a complete new set of bathrooms that are accessible, as well as for men and women, etc., to meet our city codes. As I mentioned, he would have the right of first option to lease the rooftop space. There have been no brokers involved in this negotiation. We would have to mutually agree on the number of parking spaces. There are some parking spaces that are dedicated to Rafiki Tiki right now. And I talked with Mr. Dimitri about making sure that the restaurant did not take all of the premium spaces here at the marina, the way we're operating now and for the future. So he understands that. We'll have to work out some amenable parking situation so that operations and events, et cetera, can continue to move forward. The letter of intent is non-binding. It's subject to your comment, approval, et cetera. And we added several conditions to this letter of intent. And we tried to come up with some language that would give some flexibility to the agency as we move forward with other development here at the marina. And that is that the tenant understands that the premises may be altered or modified as part of the master plan and construction of the marina project at some point in the future. So the tenant acknowledges a willingness to work with any developer or developers with regard to such modification or alteration, including potentially moving the tenant location to another building once built, in the event the current building becomes incapable of sustaining tenant's restaurant operation, with the understanding that the tenant will be responsible for entering into negotiations with the future ground lease and or sublessee of the Marina Village Phase 2 project, which means that as we move forward with this, if there is a developer who comes with a plan that is acceptable to this board, to this agency, and it is more feasible to have this restaurant, say, located in another element or another building, then it would be up to Mr. Dimitri to negotiate that with the master developer, and it would take, to a great extent, take away our responsibility to make sure that that happens. So he would have to negotiate his own deal within the confines of our lease. So we were trying to craft some language that would give us an out. And during the construction period, remember that I said that operations would continue. Rafiki Tiki would continue to pay us rent on the space that they have now under the current terms during the construction. Once construction is finished and there is at least a temporary CO, then there would be a period of time when the new lease and payment would kick in. And we talked about, I think he asked for 6 months, and I think we agreed to 90 days, 90 or 120 days for that. So I'll stop and take questions, comments, or suggestions.
Madam Chair?
Commissioner Spears, do we have any comment cards for this item?
Madam Chair, we have no comment cards.
Okay, go ahead, Dr. Spears.
So, Madam Chair, based on what you brought up earlier, I have the same concerns with respect to the Marina Phase 2 project and this project interfering with that project. I've been steadfast. You know, I supported this project and I voted. I was the third vote to move this forward previously. But I still have the same concerns, and my concern is the interference with the development of this project with any proposals that we may be getting. And I would like to suggest that any lease that we do will include an exit ramp for the city with respect to paying the leaseholder or the leasee 75% of the improvements that are being put into the project right now. With us having the ability to cancel the lease and give a 90 to 120 day cancellation notice with the restaurant closing within a reasonable time period where it will not impact any development if necessary to move forward with the Phase 2 project. I'm not so sure. In addition, I have some concerns about the build-out costs. What were those build-out costs based on? Was there a square foot construction cost?
Yes, we have not gotten into the details of the construction budget. He's roughly estimating it at about $1 million. We think it's going to be more, but that would come once the plan is nearly finalized and he can get construction proposals based on what is planned there.
Well, I would like to require that we have an independent cost estimator. There are architectural firms that do this for a living, engineering firms, and that they give us a independent cost estimate on what that build-out cost would be, and we can come up with what I think would be a fair number based on that cost estimate and the square footage of what's being built out. Also, we would need receipts and contracts to verify the numbers that are being put into the project as well. And that will assist us in the exit ramp process if necessary. Of course, we do appreciate what Dimitri has done here over the years. His investment, he's been here during good times and bad times. He invested in this community when many people would not invest in this community. I would hope that when we review Phase 2 proposals, that we will encourage people to make room for Dimitri if he were to have to move from one place to another in order to develop out the entire project. I think that's important, and we should probably almost require that when we finalize negotiations on the marina, if it's necessary. If we pick a proposal that requires him to move, we just make sure that he's also included in the project as well. That's all, Madam Chair.
Okay, very good. Any other questions in regards to this term sheet? I have a couple of issues. I think that you kind of hit on some of those, Dr. Spiritus, in regards to the exit ramp. When talking about the Marina project, we have no idea at this point, because we're in the RFQ process, we have no idea, excuse me, we have no idea at this point how that is going to look in terms of a developer coming in and developing that whole property. Will that stay? Will it go? And for a person to invest that kind of money in that property, I'm sure there will have to be some guarantees that you have this development happening at the marina, and now the person has put their money into this, and they might want them to move. So that definitely have to have some discussion. Secondly, does him taking that bottom part exclude someone from the top part, the rooftop? Because it seems that that might be a problem. Go ahead. Hold on a second, sir.
We started to talk about that because the initial site plan included access to the roof and operations on the roof. And my questions were around how it would impact operations in the event center, access and security. And for instance, imagine, or if you could visualize, there is a door opening into the lobby. We have stairs, we have a freight elevator, service elevator, and a regular elevator. So people would either have to access upstairs by the outside stairs, which is a possibility, or they would need access to the interior to use the interior stairs and the elevator, which would mean another discussion about security, access, and who pays for that, and about how it would impact future events and activities in this space. So we started those discussions, but after we limited the conversation to the bottom floor, we didn't explore it anymore. But it it's possible that it could be a separate operator. There would have to be some major retrofits, and I'm just visualizing the space. There is a bar kitchen up there that if you're going to put a restaurant up there, that's a whole other animal in terms of can you put full restaurant operations in that space, or what type of operator would it be in that space? Is it just a bar? Is it food or whatever? So that's another level, or some entertainment. It could be some type of entertainment. I know you all at one point was talking about a swing suite or something, maybe for the combined space. So we would have to really have a serious talk about the layout, access, security, et cetera, and the costs.
Okay, so yeah, that was one of my concerns. I don't want that we have a bottom floor, but we have to put millions of dollars just to use the top floor. That's one of my major concerns with this. Secondly, I've said this from the very beginning that there should be other vendors who have the same opportunity. There should be other people in this community who have the same opportunity to be able to get a building with the city, get $200,000 to be able to help you build it out. I think that that should be allowed to everyone who lives in the city who wants to do business like this. I've said this from the very beginning. Mr. Dimitri has, and this is no shade to Mr. Dimitri. He's been there for 10 years in this space. And the way that it's set up, I mean, it's another 5 years, but why not give somebody else an opportunity to be in this space? Now, you're telling me that we may have to spend money to be able to use this top space. So we're looking at a whole lot of different moving parts here in regards to this. And that is why I had some heartburn about us moving forward with this without having all of these discussions about what is going to happen on the end of the phase two project, and also how that top space will be used, and also how that access to this space will be limited. So those are some of the issues that I'm really having heartburn with to be able to move forward, because I don't want to get to the end of this thing and have, we gotta do we want to give somebody to have some opportunity to get the top space. So if we do that, then how much is that going to cost us to do to be able to offer that to someone else? So those are the kind of things that I've always had and I've always said here at these meetings, because this is something that the city is going to have, the CRA is going to have to spend money on. And if you are investing in the city, and then the city is giving money, then that needs to be something where the CRA has the opportunity to be able to say how this goes. So those are some of my concerns. I like the fact that you want to have an independent cost estimate for the construction cost. I think that's very smart, and I also think the fact that an exit ramp is very smart. And then we're talking about um, parking spaces. We're talking about maybe opening the spaces for other vendors, if possible. So there's a lot of moving parts to this, and I just really want it to be something where the CRA spends less with this project than more. There are other projects that we have in the city. There are other vendors, restaurateurs that want the same opportunity. So we have to consider that as well. Um, and for right now, that's all I have for right now. But that's where I stand with this. And I've said this for the last 6 years.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
um, Ms. Jenkins, what type of timeline, if this was to go forward, what's the timeline for the expansion? How long would,
I'm sorry, for
for the expansion,
for the
if he's prepared,
construction,
yeah, the construction.
he believes he can get it done in 6 months, once a permit is in hand within 6 months. Um, that's very optimistic, but he has a team that he thinks can move ahead and get it retrofitted in 6 months.
Okay, and then the lease is for 5 years.
Yes.
And to get the RFP and to find the people or the other restaurateurs or other people who are interested in something like that, that's gonna take some time. If that is the case, if we have others that are interested, and it will have to go through the process of an RFP, or they would have to find the funding. I'm just saying if that is the case.
Based on what the commissioner is asking. Uh, If I may, Chair,
Yes, go
just
ahead.
make one comment about the business plan.
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Dimitri did include a community benefits section in his business plan, because we had some of that discussion, about opportunity for other emerging entrepreneurs in our community, and he was open to that. And we just threw out an example. Maybe there's someone who is a baker who he could nurture, help to learn the um, restaurant business, etc., and they provide desserts or something for the restaurant, or someone who operates a certain segment, or um, somebody who grills in terms of the meats. If you think of a Brazilian type of restaurant and things that they offer. So he was open to doing that, and also making sure that whatever direction the board went in, that he would be very deliberate about a community benefits program here in the city. I just didn't want that to be lost.
You said something about community benefits.
Madam-
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just, he did propose, in general terms, we didn't negotiate or talk about anything specific, but that he would return some community benefits here in the community.
Madam Chair.
And one of the ideas was maybe nurturing another small emerging restaurant operator.
And my question is, so what community benefits has he given in the last 10 years to this community? And I guess I can ask him that if he comes up.
Yes.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And thank you for that, Ms. Jenkins. That's where I want to touch on the community benefits, because I'm concerned that we don't have set community benefits. And I know Dimitri will talk about a lot of the benefits that he's provided to the community, but I think as a city, we want to have some set, clear community benefits. So having that discussion to negotiate it into the term sheet is one of my concerns. Question for legal. Well, actually, before I go to that, Ms. Jenkins, estimated build-out costs for that expansion into the first floor,
We took the,
as proposed by the vendor.
as proposed, were around $1 million. I think
Okay.
optimistic, but
Attorney Smith, in regards to our negotiation of terms, can we require or request that with that build-out, that local vendors are used, or local minority vendors are used for the construction build-out?
we can't make it a requirement. We can
That we cannot?
we can't make it a total requirement, but we can put it in there as a suggestion,
Okay.
and it can be part of our negotiations that
What if
if you're going to
what if
use
we
this
make it
amount.
small business or local? Can we make it a
Yes,
requirement
sir.
for small business local?
Uh, yes.
Okay. Um, being intentional with the community benefits is something that we want to make sure is clear because we can hear from individuals. I trust everything in Dimitri and what he said he's going to do because I have a long-standing communication relationship to seeing the efforts. My concern is that with every project, I want to make sure we have that requirement. So including local contractors to benefit from this $1 million project, having a real community benefits package built out, and making this a partnership with the city because he did talk about, you said, ideas of using a Sioux kitchen or other relative kitchens to help supporting small businesses. Because if we're spending $1 million and Dimitri's going to be spending $1 million of his money into this building, I think that's a great investment. But I want to make sure that investment is also with local vendors. The upstairs venue was the other concern. I think Madam Chair and Dr. Spirit has kind of opined on that. The upstairs venue was kind of written out of this discussion and negotiation. I know I heard my friend over there, he said he'll take it, but it was the original request of the board for him to move forward with the entire space because the logistics would not be operational or functional with having a separate space upstairs and downstairs. And I think for the sake of just getting this done, to get it done in an expedited fashion, the negotiations were done for the bottom floor. It's going to leave our top floor obsolete. And that's the issue that Mr. Guyton, Commissioner Guyton, has stated on the record that he's tired of wasting this kind of time and being one of the people that actually approved this marina and then seeing it still in the same status. So if we do move forward, we need to be really clear with how we're going to move forward with the project. Because if he's going to expand the space, it needs to include upstairs and downstairs because the upstairs space is not going to be utilized. And then just being first right of refusal. So that needs to also be discussed and negotiated and outlined so we can have a clear, even if it's with a partnership, having somebody that comes to the table where they can expand it to a beer garden, a outdoor space, something to utilize and maximize so we can build out the entire space now and not just continue to have dirt in our marina and continue to have unused waterfront exposure or terrace. So I think that we need to move aggressively with it, but we want to have all the questions answered. And I agree with Madam Chair. Community benefits has to be outlined. Local participation is my concern, making sure it's incorporated into the marina. And I do believe that Mr. Dimitri is the one that can get this done because he's committed and invested into it. But I want us to vet all of those issues out before we proceed with that and then looking at opportunities to get it done. So those are the things I want to make sure we can have some additional conversations before executing a lease that hasn't been fully cooked and vetted. So there's a few things that we're missing from it, and that's why I wanted to have a discussion. So thank you, board, for what we were able to discuss tonight. But that was kind of my feedback. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair,
Thank you. Yes, go ahead, sir.
uh, my colleagues have brought out some very good points that need to be addressed and flushed out, especially the exit strategy should a project impose on this project. An exit strategy not just for the city, but also for the applicant who's been investing for years and years and years and years. And it's something about loyalty to this city that makes me gravitate toward those type of people who've been here when nobody else was. Certainly when things start jumping, we're gonna have a lot of people coming in to invest, but who was here when people weren't looking to invest? Mr. Dimitri. Um, someone spoke about the community benefits. Those who know Mr. Dimitri, he's been moving quietly in this community for years, supporting a lot of community activities. All done under the radar, no fanfare. And now we have an opportunity now to move forward on that space. And it's my hope that we don't take more time than necessary. These are some very critical, important issues that need to be addressed. So don't misunderstand me about moving forward. But we've been sitting here for over 10, 11 years having these type of discussions without putting shovels in the ground. And at some point, we've got to bite the bullet, set a time frame that we're going to flush these issues out in the next 2 months, the month, whatever it may be, not just leave an open time frame that we have to address these issues at some point. And we'll be looking down the road, it'll be another 5 years, 10 years of Riviera Beach being looked at. They have this prime property and nothing is being done. And that really, I'm gonna use the word frustrate, but not at anybody in particular. But we had this prime property and haven't been capitalizing on it because sometimes we think that we can get a perfect project. We're gonna make mistakes. We need to move forward. We want to dot our T's and cross our I's to the best of our ability. But if we keep talking and talking and talking and talking, it'll be another 5 or 10 years before a shovel hit the ground. We have to bite the bullet at some point. We have to jump off that ledge and say it's time to do something. And that's all I'm saying. Let's.
I thank you for your comments. I agree. I agree that we need to do something with this Marina, this whole area here. I totally agree with that. But
Wait. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
One lesson. I would like to establish a time frame to discuss the issues of concern. Not just leave it hanging out there that we need to discuss this and flush it out. So I would like to establish a time frame for discussion about the concerns that were raised so that we can deal with them and hopefully move forward and make some progress at the Marina.
We can bring it back at our next meeting.
That sounds good to me.
We can bring this back at our next meeting. And also too, I just want to be clear, Commissioner Guyton, that Mr. Dimitri is a businessman. It's not as if we gave him in terms of anything. He came here, he made money. So anybody, would be happy with the place. Anybody would be happy with that opportunity. He made a lot of money at the city, a lot in the last 10 years. So, it's not as if he's giving us anything. He made money. That's business. I can understand that. But we want to make sure that the city benefits as well. So that's where I am with that. Yes, go ahead, sir.
I assume that this is going to be tabled. Otherwise, I would make a motion to amend this resolution. So should I not waste my time? Is there going to be a motion to table this? Is that what
I'm ready
the
to
board
move
is?
forward. I don't know about the others.
Well, then if someone's going to make a motion to table it, then we can continue this discussion at the next meeting, and we can incorporate what I want to put in as an amendment, which are the things that we've discussed tonight to the existing resolution.
Yes, go ahead. I'm sorry. Are you finished, Dr. Curtis?
Yes.
Commissioner Miller-Anderson?
I agree with what everyone is saying. I understand Mr. Guyton's issue. I understand yours and Mr. Spiritus, and Mr. Lawson. So I do see that it may just be beneficial for everyone to be clear on just having an opportunity to talk through this and add those components that everyone's talking about. I was there when the Marina opened. I was there when Mr. Dimitri's first contract was discussed. So, and it was a pretty good deal that he got. So he has definitely benefited quite a bit for these last 10 years, but I want to make sure that we're not just rushing to get it done. I'm not saying that he has not done right by the city. I'm just thinking that I don't want to rush through this And I understand Mr. Dayton's point that, you know, nothing has really occurred over at the marina since he's left. But I don't want to rush to this. Maybe having these things put into place will make it a little more palatable and people will understand why we're going with the same person here because I have gotten calls where people are interested in it as well. And from what I understand is it would be very difficult to have two separate restaurants, one upstairs and then his downstairs. So I'm somewhat on board with being able to allow him to have that, but it has to make sense. And so I would like to not table it, postpone it, just postpone it until the next meeting. And then at that point, we can kind of finalize what we need to do.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Was
Hold
that
on,
a
let me-
motion to table?
I'm sorry.
Was that
I
a
didn't
motion to
say
table?
I'm not making a motion to table because if we table it, you're gonna have to make a motion to take it off the table and then bring
It's a
it
motion
back
to
up.
postpone,
Can I
isn't it?
not do a postponement, Mr.?
It's a motion to postpone and give a date. A motion to postpone for, what is the next CRA
When is
meeting
the
date?
next CRA meeting?
Chair, July 9th.
July 9th.
Mr. Smith,
Yes, ma'am.
is that the postponement is good?
Yes, you can postpone it. Now, if I can, Madam Chair, the resolution before you is to give us authorization just to keep moving forward with the lease. It's not a lease, it's not for us to complete a lease, but for us to move forward under these terms. Through your discussions, you've given us plenty of other things to put into what we're doing. But all this resolution does, it says, okay, this is you have a term sheet, keep moving forward and moving forward with the especially with the comments of today. Now, before we do any lease or anything, we'll have to come back to this board and this board will opine and have to vote on any lease. The resolution before you does not do a lease, does not pass a lease, and we will not sign any lease or proceed with any lease until this board sees that final lease. This is just the terms, and it's telling us to move forward with the terms. But if you want to postpone that to next month, that is your prerogative. But just realize this resolution doesn't really, it doesn't do a lease. You're going to see a lease before we move forward and before we sign any lease. You'll see it and can opine on it then.
Madam
Chair.
Mayor,
I think that most, I'm sorry, I think that most of the
Madam
board,
Chair.
agrees that the project needs to move forward. I mean, that's just me, one person, but I know that based on the conversations and what has been had, most of the board wants to move forward with the negotiations.
Madam
So that
Chair.
being said, yes, go ahead.
So
Attorney-
the
Attorney Smith,
resolution,
okay.
I'm
are you
sorry.
talking to me or I had asked him the question he answered, so I'm trying to.
Oh, the follow-up, I'm sorry. Give me 1 second. Go ahead, Commissioner Miller Anderson, I'm sorry.
So I understand he's saying that, I hear what he's saying, but it is saying to approve the proposed term sheet. So if that's what we're doing tonight is approving the term sheet, and that's part of the conversation that we want to continue, I don't see the reason why we're gonna approve it tonight. Why don't we just postpone the whole thing? And then we can, just to be clear that we're not approving a term sheet, proposed term sheet related to the lease.
Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
So that was kind of my question to the attorney. Does that lock in the pricing if we move forward with the term sheet, or can we add the community benefits to it once we decide, okay?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
What this does is it doesn't lock us into anything. What this resolution is basically telling staff, okay, you have a term sheet. We see this term sheet. Globally, we approve this term sheet, but flush out some more issues, especially the issues that are brought up. When you bring us back a lease, and that probably looking at and getting the feel of the commission, I don't know if it'll be next month or even the month after. But now we have a lot of issues globally to look at. But what this resolution does is tells us to keep moving forward. Without it, we were uncomfortable with moving forward in any direction because if we didn't have this resolution,
and we were just moving forward, this body could say, you know what, we don't even want Rafiki Tiki there anymore. Why are you moving forward on this? Um, this is just giving us direction to keep moving forward and to develop a lease with all of the things that you brought up. So that's all we're asking for today is just permission from this board to continue moving forward, but not a final, this is not a final lease that we're approving tonight. And the terms and things can change within it as we develop the lease. We have flexibility to change. So you're not locking anything in with passing of this resolution.
Madam Chair?
Okay, well, hold on one second. I understand that, but so what happened in January? What were we doing in January?
Yeah.
Yes, go ahead.
In January 22nd, the direction was given to move forward with Rafiki Tiki to extend the lease agreement. We and this came from a business proposal that Dimitri gave us to expand the Rafiki Tiki establishment to the first and second floor. Through that time frame, we went ahead and we took a look at, as Ms. Jenkins stated, his operationals along with his financials, and we developed our due diligence within that and created that term sheet for all to review. So that's where we're at with that.
Yes, go ahead, Dr. Spears.
So I know it's confusing, but it's really not confusing. Really, I think the motion that's on the floor right now, hasn't been seconded, was to further discussion of the term sheet at the next meeting. There also is the option to amend the resolution that's before us right now pertaining to the term sheet, to add certain items into the term sheet by resolution, and then keep moving forward and come back with a proposed lease for us to discuss one more time and before we vote. And we would have the opportunity to amend that at that time as well. So I think that's what we have to decide right now. Do we want to wait until July 9th and continue this discussion on the term sheet, or do we want to make some changes by resolution right now to the term sheet for the staff to follow before they bring us an actual lease for us to discuss one more time and vote on?
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
if I heard the attorney correctly, and I'm going to look at him one more time and say that we are able to make changes, this is just to approve this resolution. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Well, I would like to put a motion on the floor. Is there a motion already here?
I think so, yes.
Madam Chair, go ahead with the motion. I'll ask after.
Yeah, there's a motion on the floor already when she read the resolution. There was a so moved in a second.
Can you repeat
No,
that,
there was
please?
no
It
second.
was not for that item?
It was no second.
Yeah, it was. It
When
was
you
for
read
the
out the
item that you
resolution
read.
for this item, hold on a second, Madam Clerk, when we read this item off, when you read this item off, was there a motion that said say so moved in a second to this? Yes or no? No? Okay. So, hold on one second. Commissioner Miller Anderson.
So if there was no motion in second, why are we having this conversation? Nobody spoke up and said that they didn't have a motion in second to continue the conversation? We had to have had one. If we didn't, we shouldn't have gotten this far. And then
Yeah.
second of all, Mr. Smith, I am still trying to understand how the resolution says this is to approve. Hold on. Approving, it says that the Riviera Beach Community Redevelopment Agency approving the proposed term sheet related to lease agreement. And it says it for number one, the board hereby approves the proposed term sheet between the agency and Rafiki Tiki. So that's what we're doing. Now, I heard Mr. Steer say, do we want to go ahead and modify things tonight for the term sheet? Then if that's the case, if we're approving this resolution, we're approving this term sheet. So I don't know how that's what it says. I don't know how I could be interpreting that as any differently.
Madam
I
Chair,
think that what, hold on a second. I think that what she said initially was that if there was no so moved or second, then why are we having this conversation? which means that if we got to the end when she read this and there was no motion, then that means that the motion died for a lack of a second. So I don't know where we are with that because if we did not have a motion and a second, then we don't have a argument here.
Madam
Madam
Chair.
Chair.
Go ahead, Mayor.
Thank you. And if we continue where Ms. Miller Anderson left off, number 2 on the resolution says the executive director is authorized to finalize negotiations and execute a lease of the Rafiki Tiki, consistent with the terms outlined in this term sheet. So I guess Ms. Davis Pannier did ask our attorney, but based upon what this resolution that we would be approving tonight, it says that the executive director can finalize and negotiate and execute a lease.
Yes, sir.
So that's contrary to what Ms. Davis Pannier asked and what you said, that we can make changes, because if we approve this term sheet tonight, the executive director can move forward with executing a lease.
No, not execute. Let me pull it right
Based on the
now.
resolution that reads clear language, that he can finalize negotiations and execute a lease. So if there's unreadiness with the board and we need to finalize some additional discussion, which my biggest piece is going to be finishing the entire Marina out. If we're going to build the space out, build it upstairs and downstairs out. Allow for a tenant that's ready to execute, to move in and to move forward with it. And I completely support Rafiki Tiki. My question is if this board moves forward with this resolution, I want us to be clear with what's the direction and expectation of what steps happen next. So in this plain language of the resolution, if we continue to read from where Ms. Miller Anderson left off, line item 2 says that the director can go ahead and execute. So, I mean, we just need to be clear. If we're approving this term sheet, that means we've approved the term sheet and they can move forward. If we're going to have further discussion, let's save it for the meeting and address all the commissioner concerns and bring it back for approval at the next meeting so we can execute. But let's just be clear with the language, Attorney
I
Smith.
think that, hold on a second. So I think that we're back to a postponement so that we can get into all of the issues that we brought up tonight. Because based on what Ms. Davis Pannier read, it said that, yeah, we will be approving this. That's what Commissioner Miller Anderson said. Yes, we will be approving this. So there is some,
Madam Chair, if I can, please.
yes, go ahead.
If you look at you stop reading at the second clause, it says, and final approval by agency. You're the agency. So what this does is allows the executive director to start putting together a lease, but any lease will have to come back to you to be approved by you. So it doesn't have have the executive director signing a lease or fully executing a lease without coming back to this board and having this board look at the lease and approve said lease.
Okay, yes, I understand that, which means that this item should have been a discussion item, to tell you the truth.
Okay, Madam Chair.
Yes, hold on a second. So where are we now? Somebody gonna have to make a motion if they
That,
want
that,
this.
that's,
Hold
that's
on a
what I
second,
plan
hold
on
on.
doing. I want to make a
Hold on a
motion.
second, Mr.
I have a motion on the floor to postpone for,
Oh,
I don't
yes,
think it got a second.
she had a motion on the floor for a postponement. I did second that.
Oh.
Yeah.
What, the chair seconded? You have
No,
to pass
she
it.
had a motion. Commissioner Miller Anderson had a motion for postponement, and I seconded it.
Yeah, but so my question is about parliamentary procedures.
yeah,
If you're the chair, don't you have to pass the gavel to second?
no,
No,
Not the second.
No.
Not
Chair.
second. Okay.
no.
that was back in our old days, Bruce.
Madam
Yes,
Chair.
but they changed it.
Wait a minute, hold on, Commissioner Guy. Yes, go ahead,
Madam
Dr.
Chair,
Spears.
I support Dimitri and having a lease, but for the purposes of getting this right, I will second board member Kashamba Miller Anderson's motion to postpone this till July 9th, and hopefully at that point, we will have everything all set up in the term sheet, and we can then move forward with a lease that makes sense.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk.
Commissioner Davis Pannier,
No.
Commissioner Guyton,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller Anderson,
Yes. Yes, can
Commissioner-
you hear me?
Commissioner Spiritus, Chair Lanier. That vote passes 4-0 with
4-1.
4-1 with Commissioner Davis Paneer dissenting.
Okay, we're done with that. Let us go to the next item, Madam Clerk.
Ma- Madam Chair,
Yes,
may I ask for a point of clarification as staff? May I?
yes, of course, go ahead.
Listening to all of the comments and taking them in, and I know we need to go back and huddle as staff. Some of the things that were asked for, I'm thinking about the time. We can make best efforts to bring back a revised timesheet at the next meeting, but between now and the next meeting, there are 2 holidays, which gives us 18 working days. And I'm thinking of the third-party reports we would have to commission, get proposals and commission in order to answer your questions and for us to do the appropriate due diligence. So I just want to say
Right, no,
on the
I
record that we'll
understand.
make best efforts to
I
bring it
certainly
back,
understand,
but
yes.
it may not be
And,
ready.
and what we'll do is make it a discussion item, and then we can discuss where we are in his term sheet,
Yes,
in
Chair,
his lease.
thank you.
Yes, go ahead.
Chair, we'll make our best effort to have one-on-one conversations with all of you to make sure that you all have another bite at the apple and make sure that the term sheet is to your liking before it comes to the July 9th meeting. That way we can finalize on the term sheet and we can move forward with the lease agreement itself.
Very good. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go
real
ahead.
question. The lease agreement, any community benefits that would be separate or an addendum, how is that? That's not in the lease, obviously.
Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
We can discuss that amongst us all, and I would like to go ahead and discuss with staff what those community benefits would be. Through this conversation, Mayor Lawson has brought up some great points along with Chair Lanier. I would like to incorporate those for review along with discussing with our CRA attorney what those community benefits will look like. At the same time, I would also like to discuss with the Rafiki Tiki team and their representatives about what would be feasible community benefits, realistic community benefits that we would be able to actually attain, not just these, what we would like in these pie in the sky, but the feasible items, and we'll go ahead and go from there. All of those will be within that term sheet for review.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
follow up. But you do think we have enough staff and board members to be able to come up with community benefits with Mr. Dimitri, correct?
I believe that we have enough staff to articulate something on paper for review. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Very good. Commissioner Miller Anderson. Okay, let's go to item
Yes.
7. I was wanting to know, did you have any other questions or
No.
input? All right, very good. Thank you, Ms. Jenkins, for your presentation. Thank you, Mr. Dimitri and your team for coming tonight, and we shall press forward. 7B.
Resolution number 2025-10, authorizing the execution of a construction contract for utility bureau services with Mass Tech North America, Inc. The acceptance of public comment cards are now closed. Madam Chair, we have no comment cards.
Madam Chair,
Yes, go ahead.
I just want to bring to the attention of the board that as a result of burying these lines on Broadway, that Singer Island has been out of internet all day today. I don't even believe it's back on now. They don't have TV, they don't have internet. There was an issue with respect to burying the lines on Broadway. We had 2 power surges from FPL last week and one this week that have caused thousands and thousands of dollars in damage to the buildings on Singer Island, to their mechanicals. FPL is investigating. They've had their trucks all over the place. My guess is that they're probably going to find it was a result of work that was being done on Broadway. So I asked the CRA director to please work with his staff and FPL and Comcast and AT&T and everyone else that's working on this project to be more careful. And we better start thinking about who's going to pay these costs in the long run if this continues to happen. Thank you.
We have she's read the resolution.
I move to approve.
Second.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so the question is this, to the executive director, Mr. Merzius. Uh, Originally, we were told by the previous executive director that the cost was going to be $3 million to bury these lines. Is this 600 and some odd thousand dollars included in that $3 million?
The 600 and some dollars, well, excuse me, Chair.
Go ahead.
The 600 and some dollars is included within that $3 million frame.
Thank you.
Is there a presentation in regards, do we need a presentation in regards to this item, colleagues?
No.
All right, very good. Thank you, ma'am. Madam Clerk?
Commissioner Davis Panir,
Yes.
Commissioner Guyton,
Yes.
Vice Chair Miller Anderson,
Yes,
Commissioner Spiritus, Chair Lanier.
Yes.
That vote passes 5-0.
Next item on the agenda is the discussion of the RFQ for Marina Phase 2. Executive Director.
Yeah. Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Yes, so the discussion when it comes to the RFQ and the list of events. Currently, we are in the RFQ phase. The RFQ is ending on June 27th. Our next steps will be to, at the July 9th meeting, come forth and give you all a timeline of where we are with the Marina Village Phase 2 project. And we will discuss and looking for you all to give us any type of direction, if any, on where we are with the process and what you all would like to see fit. This would be a running conversation. This would not be the one time that you guys have an opportunity to speak on the RFP. This is an item that I believe we are working steadfastly and moving towards. So yes, we are moving forward with that.
So our timeline is that the closing for the RFQ is June 27th, and at our July 9th meeting, you will have some update for us.
Well, at the July 9th meeting, I would like to present a timeline of what is come to expect, what would be expected in terms of our 7-day notice, along with our evaluation committee meetings, along with the process when it comes to the RFP itself, the 60-day timeline, along with the selection process, those items. At that time frame, I would like for the board to opine on any items that they would like to feel free on, and we would like to move forward.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
Okay, Executive Director Merzius, we paid JLL well over $1 million so far on this project. Can you tell me if they have already completed the RFP that will go out after the RFQ? Are we
Chair?
ready?
Yes, go ahead, sir.
They have not completed the RFP. They are in the process of completing a draft of the RFP.
Yes, go ahead.
So when will we see this draft, and when can we expect the final?
Well, Chair, with the expectation within those timetables, the deliverables of a final, well, the RFP itself will be set for at some point in June. We have, and again, this is a tentative date, but the RFP itself would be open at some point in July. And once it's open in July, it'll be open for about 60 days.
Madam Chair?
Go ahead.
Yeah, I've made this clear to the CRA staff and our executive director. I believe we wasted close to 3 to 4 months by not putting out the RFQ and the RFP at the same time. Anybody who failed the RFQ requirements, all we had to do was throw their package in the garbage pail, and we would have been 3 to 4 months ahead of schedule. I really urge the CRA to staff to ensure that we're ready to send out this RFP. I don't even know why we don't send it out right now, because we could do the same thing. Who doesn't pass the RFQ, we just don't accept an RFP from them. But if we really want to jumpstart this project, that would be the best way to move forward.
Chair?
Go ahead.
Upon my arrival coming into January, this solicitation itself is the most important solicitation in the city's history. This solicitation started well before me coming into January, and the RFQ came out in April. That's about 3-4 months. I'm not going to rush this process. I'm not looking to rush this process. I'm not going to make a mistake on this process. This is one of the most important solicitations that the city has ever had. My staff, along with the city staff, has met on a regular basis every Thursday at 4 p.m. with JLL to discuss the pros and the cons of what an RFP and an RFQ would look like at the same time. And the decision was made to move forward with that RFQ. I am not looking to make any mistakes. That's not why I'm here. And I understand that if there is a mistake, it's going to be on my face. So I will not move forward with, I will not look to go ahead and move at a fast pace because we know who those solicitate or we know who those players or who those individuals are. I will say that 2 months ago, a direction was given with one of our other solicitations to expand and look for bigger outreach and market. And with that precedence that was set, we need to go ahead and continue that precedence. So through the board, along with every other member within our staff, the precedent has been set to make sure that the solicitation is, it at best, the best possible document for review, and I'm committed to doing that. And I
Sure.
understand what Commissioner Spiritus is saying, but at the same time, again, this solicitation is one of the biggest solicitations in the city's history, and I'm not looking to make a mistake.
Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so Mr. Merzius, just so you understand, time doesn't make a good RFP. You can spend 3 years doing an RFP and come out with a bad RFP. If you are dealing with JLL and we're spending $1 million, there's no reason. This is not rocket science, this RFP. This is not an agreement. This is just an RFP. I don't understand why we can't put out an RFP on this project in less time and get it out right now. We are in a very tenuous time right now with respect to development. You brought up we didn't set a precedent, by the way. We did it one time. That does not set a precedent. And we learned from that precedent that you call a precedent. We added the 30 days and we didn't get any additional responses. We wasted 30 days. So we could have been approving a project right now while the iron is still hot and people still have the ability to get financing. So I urge you and I urge this board to get this RFP out as fast as possible and not wait another 2 months. We paid over $1 million. Keep this in mind. I keep saying this. They're one of the top firms in the country that does this. This is a simple RFP. We're not developing the Penn Central yards in New York City. This is a small project in development terms, in large development terms. This is a small project. There's no reason not to put an RFP together right now in the next few weeks and get it out on the street. I really urge you to do this because, like I said before, in 24 hours, an entire market can collapse. I can tell you right now, there are many developers that were planning on building condominiums that are now turning them into rental buildings because they cannot get the financing to build condominiums. They can only get the financing for rentals. The market is changing rapidly as we speak. So please, let's move forward while the iron is hot because we don't know what's going to happen down the road. Thank you.
Chair,
Yes, go ahead, sir.
we're moving as quickly as possible.
Mr. Mercier. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Thank you for those comments, and I think that my concern, the only disagreement I have with my colleague, Dr. Spiritus, is that this is one of the largest projects the city has and will do, and moving forward, that our community has to be prepared for it. It's in the mindset, I know Dr. Spiritus has done major projects across the country, but this community has never seen something of this caliber. So I agree with my executive director that we need to get it right because our residents need to be prepared and we need to stave off gentrification in our community by developing it safely and aggressively, but safely, with the intent of protecting the residents first and foremost. I do have issues with the process, though, with the RFQ process and the RFP process, because Director Mercius, you mentioned that it was clear direction from one of my colleagues to market and advertise this nationally. But from my understanding is this solicitation RFQ was not advertised outside of Florida.
That is incorrect, well, Chair.
Yes, go ahead.
That is incorrect, sir.
Tell me how it was marketed, please.
So first and foremost, the advertising for this, it was solicited on BidNet. BidNet is a national is a national solicitation platform. It has widespread government participation along with the regional purchasing that is under one national network. The national platform itself, it is, for the most part, it reaches international. Not only that, there were several publications within, from a national standpoint, anywhere from marine development to construction development that discussed upon or opined within this publication, this solicitation itself. So it's been broadcasted throughout
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I do have just a couple questions. I'm gonna just do some rapid fire, if that's okay, Madam Chair. Thank you. And thank you, Director Mercius. Um, Ms. Ammons, the BidNet, our conversation, when I asked you about the publication, you said this was advertised in Florida. Can you explain to me and help me understand the difference between the national advertisement publication that Director Mercy is talking about, and then how BidNet actually, because it's a new system for us in this
Okay.
community, how it was actually advertised nationally?
Mhm.
Because from my conversation with you, I thought it was just in Florida.
Okay. Madam Chair?
Yes, go ahead.
So BidNet is a national system that is available for companies across the nation and internationally. That if I'm a vendor, if I want to do business in Florida, then I register for Florida. So I'm a vendor, and let me back up. Vendors are categorically they register. They say I want to be notified, and then they sign up according to NIGP categories. And then they say what states. And so a vendor in Alaska can say, I want to do business in Florida.
Mhm.
Right? So it's national. I, as a vendor, have to decide however many states that I am interested in doing business in. Because we're here in Florida, it did go out to the Florida group. So a vendor in Maryland said, I want to do business in Florida. So that is that national footprint.
Got it.
All right. And so this particular solicitation was posted under 13 NIGP categories, and it reached 2,495 vendors, including across those 13 NIGP categories.
So if you're not registered as a vendor in Florida, then you wouldn't have seen this solicitation.
No, sir. I'm
Okay.
saying that if you're not registered as a vendor under a particular category, you would not have seen it, the notification via BidNet. However, we did post in 2 newspapers,
Mhm.
and we sent out flyers out. My staff, we have over 9,000.
Which newspapers?
Sun Sentinel, and I just asked staff to also give me the proof of advertisement for the other paper. Since
Which
I'm
one was
new,
that?
I think it was the Palm Beach
Post?
Post, but don't, yes.
And that's
Yeah.
where, with this being one of the largest this community has done,
Mhm.
I think that my question and concern is that it needs to get more eyes on it. And that was some of my concerns. I was really pushing to get as much eyes on this project to have a national footprint on it. The concern with that as well is that we had a mandatory pre-bid meeting. When was that mandatory pre-bid meeting?
The mandatory pre-bid meeting was held Monday,
Monday, I believe it
May,
was June 19th. Or excuse me,
May
May
19th.
19th.
Yeah,
Sorry
3
about that.
weeks after the solicitation had posted.
Okay, so colleagues, that's my other question. To have a pre-bid meeting 3 weeks after the solicitation gave us 3 weeks for this to be marketed, advertised, and solicitation. And then if an individual sees this meeting tonight, or if I go on the news tomorrow and advertise for our marina, they won't have an opportunity to bid on this. So it made no sense for me to have a pre-bid meeting, or for the solicitation to have a pre-bid meeting incorporated into the RFQ process, was my opinion when I met with staff. And if you guys could try to opine on that, because if it was in the RFP process, I would understand a pre-bid meeting or a requirement. But in the RFQ process, where we're just looking for qualifications, because I know Madam Chair, she's been very adamant about making sure we have qualified individuals.
Mhm.
But if we want to keep it open for qualifications and financial capability to actually respond to this, I want as many people to see it, as many opportunities to bid on this, and have a clear, wide range of people having an opportunity. As of right now, no one else can bid on it that was not on that call. And I think we only had about 38 people, not mentioning how many different groups. So with this being, as I've said, one of the largest projects, and Dr. Spirit is saying it's not one of the largest projects, but it's an important project.
Right.
I agree that everybody needs to see it. So individuals from Atlanta to New York to California may not have an opportunity if they weren't a part of the pre-bid meeting that held 3 weeks after it was advertised, and also if they were not in our state or vendor registered in our state. So those are some of the concerns that I had with the solicitation. And Director Mercies, I agree, this is going to be a very important solicitation, but I did present some unreadiness. And my unreadiness was this, is that we have to get this right. My friend here to the left, Commissioner Guyton, said we are not wasting another minute or second, not pushing this forward, because we need to see some shovels in the ground and see this done. I agree wholeheartedly, because I don't want to come back in 3, 4 weeks with this coming before us and we have the same 1 or 2 people that saw it, that responded to it, or we do not have capable, qualified individuals responding to this bid because we didn't actually open it up. I have a laundry list of concerns, but
Okay, you're gonna have to, hold on.
I'm not going to keep going because just those two alone, I think is going to be a major issue because
Yes.
just closing it out. If somebody sees the bid tonight, I see Bob from Sonoblix here. If he wasn't on that call, he couldn't respond if he just heard about the solicitation tonight. That's concerning for me.
It's all.
Thank you. I apologize. I didn't mean to have him chime.
Chair?
All right, yes,
Thank-
yes, sir. Wait, hold on a second. Just go ahead.
Thank you, Director Mercis. I'm sorry, Madam Chair.
With respect to the mayor, this is, again, this has been a solicitation that's been ongoing for years now. If individuals as developers, architects, engineers, construction developers, law firms, if they don't know about this solicitation on a national scale, or if they haven't heard about the solicitation, about the intentions of the city to create this Marina Village project, if they haven't heard it or haven't seen it within those years, then we can't really deem them as serious as developers as they think they are. This RFQ itself, the packet, the first page on the top right-hand corner discusses that it's a mandatory pre-bid meeting. You've had 3 weeks to review that packet. It has a time, it has the date. If this RFQ itself does not, if it does not have the mandatory, if you don't take notice of the mandatory pre-bid clause, and you're not on that call, that's not an indictment on the CRA staff or the staff entirely. That's an indictment on your development team.
Madam Chair?
So, wait, hold on a second, hold on. So, I know you have some other questions, but you're gonna have to hold those.
Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna ask you in terms of the downloads for the actual proposal, how many of those did we get?
Thank you. 130.
So 130 people downloaded that RFP.
Yes,
How many were at the mandatory?
approximately 30.
Okay, all right. Dr. Spears,
Madam Chair, with response to the number of people that are responding, 130 is actually a lot in this market right now. Most developers are trying to figure out how they're going to get out of the projects that they already started. So that's actually a good response. But everything that's being said just supports what I said before, that the RFQ and the RFP should have gone out together. Then you would have had your pre-bid requirements, and it would have been hitting both the RFQ and the RFP. But with respect to RFQs and RFPs, very often a pre-bid requirement is included in those documents. And as we said before, I mean, if a developer can't read those requirements, and the developer certainly can't build a project of this magnitude. So that's your first test, the development test on the people that are responding. So I support the staff with respect to the requirement for a pre-bid.
thank you. We had this discussion about the RFP. He's gonna bring back information for us at our next meeting in regards to that timeline. Next item, CRA boundaries. Where's the clerk? All right, CRA
Madam Chair.
boundaries, Dr. Spears.
Yeah, Madam Chair,
Madam Chair,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
it's seven, we don't have to do public comments at 7:30.
Yes, you are absolutely right. We have to have public comment. I'm so sorry, Dr. Spears. You have to give me a minute.
okay.
Public comment. Comments from the public, 7:30 p.m. Non-agenda item speakers. Public comment shall begin at 7:30 p.m. unless there is no other further business of the city council, which in that event it shall begin sooner. In addition, if any item is being considered at 7:30, then comments from the public shall begin immediately after the item has been concluded. Please be reminded that the CRA Board of Commissioners has adopted rules of decorum governing public conduct during official meetings, which has been posted at the front desk. But where's the big thing that's supposed to be out here with the, oh, it's in the walking, okay, very good. In an effort to preserve order, if any of the rules are not adhered to, the commissioner chair may have any disruptive speaker or attendee removed from the podium, from the meeting and or the building if necessary. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Any person who would like to speak during public comments, please fill out a public comment card, located at the front desk, and give it to the staff before the public comment section is announced. Madam Clerk.
Madam Chair, we have 4 comment cards. Delcia Brooks Hamilton, followed by Frank Fernandez.
Good evening, Council, Madam Chair, Mayor Lawson. It rings a bell, by the way. Mr. Smith and CRA Director, Executive Director, Mr. Mercius. My name is, to the community, good evening. My name is Delcia Brooks Hamilton, CEO of Pangea Grill, small business, women-owned in the county. I'm gonna make it really short. I submitted an unsolicited proposal on April the 8th. I need to follow up on that. I would like an update. I would like a response for the record. Now, as we all know, that element 0 through element 6 was part of the original RFP that was awarded to Mr. Irons out of Atlanta APD. Now, I know that Mr. Demetrius Rafiki Tiki has been given the opportunity to expand, and I congratulate him for that. I would also like to be given the opportunity to build. This process started back in 2015. I was here when this building was built, before it was built, and I'm still here. I would also love to be given the opportunity to participate. I have been here, I have attended all the meetings, basically all the meetings, the workshops. I know Mr. Guyton mentioned something about the commitment and loyalty and responsibility. I'm also committed. I want you to know that I'm also committed. I've been here, I've spent so much money. I have many restaurants that I operate. I have a managing company that will manage the restaurant. I will be there as well myself. I have the license that it takes. And I just basically want to be given the opportunity just like everyone else that have been given the opportunity. I have put in the time, the money, the effort. I have everyone waiting. I have my investor that's waiting with the funds and my own funds as well. And I just need to be given the opportunity just like everyone else. I've been here, as a small business owner. I know Mr. Demetrius, and I love the restaurant. I go there all the time. I mean, I've been visiting the restaurant for the past 6 years, you know. So I'd like to be given the opportunity as well for the record.
Thank you so much for your comments.
Chair, may I expound on Ms.
Uh,
Brooks Hamilton?
yes,
Or
go ahead.
after? Okay. So I did receive the proposal on April
Well,
8th.
hold on one second. Let me go through my public comments and come
Sure.
back
Yes, ma'am.
at the end and address those issues.
Absolutely.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Frank Fernandez, followed by Winston.
Good evening, Frank Fernandez, commissioners, staff. I just have something quick to say. I thought by now Dr. Spiritus would have given his spiel on the CRA boundaries, so I am not going to go there. But I want to tell you we had a great meeting sponsored by Dr. Spiritus on Singer Island regarding our comprehensive plan that's upcoming that most of us have been working on it for quite a while. And at that meeting, when it was mentioned that there are sections of Singer Island that are part of the CRA, let's just say, again, I will leave it for Dr. Spiritus, but we support Dr. Spiritus. And one thing that was also mentioned at the meeting, these little rumor mills about building 25, 30-story buildings as you come off the bridge. There were not too many very happy campers on Singer Island that want to see a block of 25, 30-story buildings as you come off the bridge, especially impacting our marine life, our multi-million-dollar Phil Foster area where people come from all over the world, and our wonderful citizens that fish off of that bridge. I'm sure everybody here sees them every night. They would not be happy campers. But again, I'll leave it up to Dr. Spiritus. Thank you for your support on the city council and also on the CRA. Have a great evening.
Winston, followed by Doretta Polk.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, council members. Hello, Mr. Douglas. Once again, I'm here. I'm not furious, I'm not mad, but I'm just disappointed. It's not so much on the city, but I guess who I was dealing with. I come here a lot and I get help and they tell me where to go, who to talk to, and I follow up on those leads. And although I follow up on those leads, those people who I follow up with the leads, it was really good with me, pleasant with me. But I end up going into another full stop because the control wasn't in my hand. I'm a small businessman. I'm a caterer. I linked up with Frontline Restaurant and I got a little thing I was doing there just to support my family, keep a roof over my head. But as from last week, Tuesday, I was told to shut that operation down. And now I've spent my 401k, my life saving to establish a building business, to build myself, establish myself. 36 years as a culinary, I'm a chef. So now it's all demolished. Seems like I lost my over $40,000. And I'm just here to see if I can get some help from the city, because I know the city got some kind of government program, grant. I don't know if it's up and running now for me to, get in touch with somebody to follow the procedure. So I don't know if it's possible, if it's up and running where I can speak to someone to get a little help from the government. I've been in this city for 36 years. I'm not a nuisance to the city. I don't cause problem. I'm a very intelligent individual. I don't go around making problems. Self-praise is no recommendation, but I'm also a good cook, a good baker. So all I'm looking for is just some assistance to relocate and carry on with my life. Thank you, guys.
Mr. Mayor,
Doretta Polk.
Yes.
you're gonna address?
Yes.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Doretta Park, and I'm in agreement with the CRA Executive Director that we want to get this correct the first time. And I think he should have the opportunity to do his due diligence for the city, entire city. Another thing I want to talk about is that we had a Black and Fit event. It was absolutely phenomenal. It was Ms. Hester, Chair Lanier, and Mr. Hearns. They were the ones who sponsored this. They had a host of people, the American Red Cross, the American Heart Association, Found Care, and American Health Council was there. Very much, a lot of very vital information was given out, and it was phenomenal. I want to talk about the May 10th event that also Chair steered at the City Library, and it was very well received. It was, Mrs. Gaines brought history of the May 10th, and also Ms. Shirley Lanier. And we had the drummers there, Ms. Hanif was there, Abasi. It was absolutely wonderful. Then another kudos go to our pro-chair, Councilwoman Kashamba Miller Anderson, for winning that award of Palm Beach County leadership. Absolutely wonderful. And hats off to you, young lady. She's going to also have at the City Library, Juneteenth is literary, resilience and redefined. She and another couple of other authors, young ladies, put this book together, I think it's going to be very nice. And if everybody can come out, as many as can, Saturday, June 14th at 1 o'clock at the library. Mr. Brody is doing a wonderful job having the rural legal aid there. He has different American Heart Association. He has different programs. Miss April Giles and Miss Donna Liba. I'm a part of the little book club there at the library, and it's very interesting. And you get a lot of information concerning this. I want to talk about our mayor. You were appointed mayor, and you have stepped up to the plate.
Thank you so much for your comments.
And I thank you so much.
Executive Director, would you like to address any of those comments made by the public?
Chair, thank you. I would like to address Ms. Brooks Hamilton's comment. On April 8th, I did receive her proposal. I followed up with her proposal on the specific dates of May 27th, June 3rd, and June 10th, asking her, as she referenced her bid award and bid document that she was given or awarded by the CRA. And I asked to see any proof or to ask to see the document of that. Today, I received a non-binding letter of intent from CBRE from 2016. And in this non-binding letter of intent, it clearly states the articles of what a letter of intent and what a non-binding agreement is. And in it, it reads specifically that a letter of intent does not create any legal obligations of any kind against the landlord or tenant or any of its related or affiliated persons or entities. This letter of intent shall not be construed as a binding or final order of a contract. After speaking with Ms. Brooks Hamilton multiple times, she described to me that after the 2016, when she claimed that she was awarded a bid document, that she had a deal with the developers to move forward and execute on a restaurant pad at the Marina Village space. When that Marina Village space and that deal with the developers ceased, her deal with that developer also ceased. She feels like the liability is now transferred under the CRA. I don't believe that's the best practice, and I don't believe that's something that we should do or inherent. I do believe that I am committed to working with Ms. Delcia Brooks if she provides some sort of bid award or bid document. But the letter of intent from 2016 does not suffice of something that we should move on or give any credence to. I am making the recommendation that if, again, going back to the Marina Village conversation where we talk about no distractions and moving forward and pushing the ball, that we continue our progress with that. And once we are open to discuss with Ms. Brooks Hamilton any type of economic development endeavors, but I don't feel like as of right now that should be involved within the Marina Village development process.
Okay. Did you have someone to speak to the gentleman in regards to the economic development or something like that?
Mr. Winston, correct?
Hmm?
Yes, Mr. Winston, I have one of my staff members reaching out to him to discuss with him where we are with that.
Okay, very good.
I'll give him a contact tomorrow.
Thank you so much. CRA boundaries, Mr. Dr. Spiritus.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As you know, Singer Island has a section, a large section that is included in the CRA district. Clearly, CRA districts, in order to meet the requirements of the state, the intention is to revitalize blighted areas. The smallest piece of property that's in this CRA district is worth millions of dollars. The Ritz-Carlton is located in the CRA district, the largest taxpayer in the city. This clearly does not make sense. The only reason we're not seeing development in the CRA district right now on Singer Island is because every developer there is expecting to come before this city council under the planned unit development option and build a 25-story building or larger, rather than building under the code, which is 8 stories right now. If that PUD section was not in, which is included in the CRA districts, was not included on Singer Island, you would have seen a tremendous amount of high-scaled, high-paying taxes coming out of the south end of Singer Island right now. So clearly, it does not make any sense. It doesn't help the people on Singer Island. As Mr. Fernandez, who's a member of our Planning and Zoning Board, by the way, and thank you, Mr. Fernandez, for your service. We did have a town hall on the comprehensive plan the other night at the Ambassador Center, which was very well attended. We had representatives from almost every condominium on the island there. It was clear that the people on Singer Island do not want to see 25-story buildings on the south end of the island. They're dead set against it, and they will do everything they have to do to fight this.
Dr. Spiritus, I want to steer you back to
well, I'm going back to this CRA district.
Okay,
this is
very
all
good.
this is all part of the only reason that you could have a 25-story building is because of the PUD, requirement in the CRA district that you can have a PUD which could give you a 25-story building. So if you want to see development and you want to see taxes coming to the city, because right now, under the CRA, the money from the CRA, the taxes from the CRA goes to the CRA. It does not go to the city. So you can't use that money to give police officers raises. You can't use that money to give any staff people raises or do infrastructure projects throughout the city. It has to be used totally in the CRA district. So we lose that ability. Even the majority of Singer Island doesn't have the ability to use those tax funds for the infrastructure and other development on Singer Island. Yet there are many, many districts, areas throughout our city that are blighted and can use all the tools that a CRA has to assist them and revitalize those areas. So what I'm suggesting is that the CRA staff, the executive director, go back, talk to their consultants, and study the CRA districts and see where it would be better served to put those boundaries for the CRA district and where to eliminate certain boundaries where the CRA district is actually hurting development, not helping development. So I'm asking that the CRA, rethink their boundary system and put it where it could benefit the city the most. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Is that something that the CRA can do, Mr. Attorney?
The CRA can do it, but in this political climate and trying to get it through, it would be very tough to do an additional boundaries. You may be able to construct boundaries and take something out of the boundaries and make it smaller, but to add boundaries in this political climate would be very tough to get done. You'd face a lot of headwinds right now. It's something we can look into, and I can give you a better indication next month.
Very good. Thank you. Does that suffice, Dr. Spiritus?
Madam Chair, yes, but I have one more question for council. In that zoning ordinance, the CRA district does have the PUD in there. Is that something that the CRA can take out, or is that something that the city council will have to do?
I can't answer that now. I'd have to look at it.
That's a city council issue. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
All right, very good. That is it for the CRA. Discussion by executive director.
Thank you, Chair. This month, we have a couple of solicitations coming out, either concluding or getting ready to go back, going on the street. One is the 1851 project that's ending on June 19th. We will have the opportunity to discuss next steps during our CRA attorney discussion. Also, we have the um, Found Care restaurant solicitation that's coming out this month, along with the Found Care general contractor solicitation also coming out this month. We also, through the direction of the board, have our landscape solicitation that's coming out this month as well. So we look forward to pushing those solicitations out as soon as possible and working with staff with those solicitations. And thank you.
Thank you, General Counsel.
Thank you, Madam Chair. There's three things. The 1851 project, in which we, at the last meeting, extended the time in which it was out. As the executive director said, it will be done on the 19th. Said the next meeting, we'll come back to you with steps on approving, accepting the unsolicited bid or going with someone else who submitted. Right now, I don't think we have any other submittals, just the one unsolicited proposal. So you will be on your next agenda, have action steps on that. Um, on the exact capital, we've been discussing with them their proposal, in which you voted on a couple of meetings ago. There were some concerns in which when they presented in front of the board, a financial structure was discussed, and they stated that they did not have any need for financial assistance, and we received a contract that required some financial assistance. So told them to come back, try again, and they didn't. So we're waiting on the second contract now. They did have that discussion with us, and they're coming up with a second contract, and we'll take a look at it and give the board a heads up on exactly what they're looking to do. But we did explain to them and gave them the minutes that Councilperson Spirit has brought up and asked those questions specifically, and they answered them specifically, but that wasn't reflected in the contract. The last thing we want to bring up, and
Go ahead, Broadway.
mhm.
That was, exact capital is on which project? Sorry, Madam Chair.
That's the 2600 project.
Yeah, we got it. That's it.
The last one that I want to bring up. So the exclusive negotiation agreement, which we backed away from, and that's how we got back out here to put the Marina back out to bid. For the new council persons, there was the two groups that were a part of it. It was Tezro and the ADP, and so when we had an exclusive negotiation agreement for them to go ahead and do the development, and at the end, we asked, it wasn't moving like we expected it to move, and so then
What, 6 years? Go ahead.
excuse me. So we as a council, well, you as a council, um, gave them a deadline to either move or not. And so they came back with a proposal with, this is what we're doing, this is what we're gonna do. But in that proposal was a letter that was there was a letter that we couldn't verify, and that was part of their submittal. And they didn't have this, they had this unverified letter, to be kind. Um, and that was a full stop for the council. And the council voted to leave this exclusive negotiation agreement and go back out to bid. Well, remember there was two different groups. So I received a letter from council asking for liquidated damages. Within the exclusive negotiation agreement, we limited damages to 200,000 if any of us back out of it, and it's for their costs. Well, Tezrel has contacted me again, and they're wanting to discuss and possibly move forward on their liquidated damages portion. And their argument is that the unsubstantiated letter that was kind of the linchpin of us walking away from the ENA wasn't submitted by Tezrel. Tezrel had nothing to do with that letter. but Tezrell has significant costs that they've incurred, up to $200,000, that when we backed away from the ENA, that they're seeking to
Yeah.
be reimbursed for those. Yes.
Madam Chair, I have a question. I mean, and this is getting very confusing here. I don't know why you're referring to this as a unsubstantiated letter. I spoke to the president of that hotel chain. He verified to me that he did not authorize or write that letter. So it is substantiated, and you checked it out yourself, and so did staff. So it is substantiated. To say it's unsubstantiated is ridiculous. I mean, it was clear that that letter was fraudulent, and we knew that, and that's why we stopped that development team. And then for the developer to say that they were not part of the team that submitted it, there was a partnership in that project. And one partner is responsible for all partners. They act as a team because, when it came to developing one section and the other section, they had their own little group. Of this particular section that we were talking to on the phase two, there was one partnership. They were all one team. So that team submitted that letter to us. So to say that they were not part of it sounds ridiculous to me. So I think that we have a lot to stand on with that, and we don't have to fear where we stand with liquidated damages or any lawsuits with respect to that. If anything, I'm considering whether I should go to the SEC and file a complaint on that fraudulent letter, because that was a public company, and people make big monetary decisions based upon letters that are submitted publicly, especially on development projects. So I'm very concerned about that, and if this goes any further, I'm going to take the appropriate action.
Okay, very good. So are you through with that?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, very good.
Well, was the direction? What was the purpose of bringing that up? Were we just talking about some old
But
stuff?
the purpose is, as an attorney, when I'm contacted by an opposing party and they're bringing up issues, I wanted to make sure that my client knows what's going on, that I'm just not making decisions without you understanding that I'm still getting contacted by one of the parties to talk about it. And as for my terminology, because there's legal consequences to terms that I use, so I'd rather stick with the term of I wasn't able to substantiate the letter that was given to us.
So what does that look like for the CRA?
What does it look like if Tezrell, say, want to file suit and try and get the liquidated damages? They would file suit in circuit court under the contract, and we'd be defending the contract for it. So we can either settle now, give them some of their damages, the Tezrell entity, some of their damages now, or we can wait till they file suit and then either defend ourselves in the suit or settle within the suit.
Right. I think that you need to give us some options here. I certainly don't want to get into a whole lawsuit about this. We know what happened. So bring us some options so that we can have some idea of what this looks like.
Madam Chair.
What when I say that, I'm saying that, okay, we know what happened, but we want to be able to make sure that I'm sure that we probably could defend it. But I want to look at what that settlement may look like. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, because I wasn't here, I'm just getting just a little bit of clarification. So the termination was based on the letter or them not performing or doing, were they required to do other things up to that point? Were they accomplishing the goals up to that point, or was it just because of the letter?
So
go ahead, I'll let you answer that.
it was a combination of both. It wasn't, the board felt they weren't coming up, fulfilling their part of the contract, and they weren't moving fast enough. And so we requested them under the agreement, why aren't you moving? Give us a plan going forward. Give us a time frame going forward. What's going on? And then in their submittal, we gave them, I think it was 30 or 60 days. And then when they submitted, this is what's going on, part of it was a letter in there, which was unsubstantiated. And so that was when the board saw that letter, that was a full stop. It was more of, do we still want to do business with someone who would put this type of letter in that is upsets, yeah, that we couldn't move forward.
Madam Chair, could we continue this conversation privately?
Yeah, I think that,
instead of
we've
publicly?
given them some direction in terms
Yeah.
of what does that look like in terms of a settlement. So that's what you can talk to
Okay.
us individually
Yes,
about.
ma'am.
Yes, very good. Dr. Spiritus, your statement, none?
No, we're at the statement period now. I thought you
Yes.
were referring to what the council said. No, I'm just going to go back to what I said previously. I urge the executive director to please reconsider putting out the RFP. As I said before, just because you do something in a shorter time period doesn't mean you're going to do it wrong. Doesn't mean you didn't do your due diligence. Doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do. The right thing to do right now is to jumpstart this project and get it out as fast as possible. We do have JLL on staff. They put out RFPs all the time. They can probably press a button on their computer and pop it out in 15 minutes. This is pretty simple, and I urge you to please do everything you can to get this out quickly. As I said, anybody who doesn't make it through the RFQ process, you could just throw out any proposal that they submit, at that time. So that's very, very important to the city and to the Marina project right now. As I said, I'm in the field, I'm doing development now. I know what the financing area is like right now. And I just think that we better move very quickly, or we may be putting out an RFP and having no responses.
Thank you. Commissioner Paneer?
I'll just say, CRA director and staff, just stay on task, share some of those concerns, but you were asked to extend this search and things of that nature, so that time was added. So just stay on task, keep it going.
Mayor, is that it? Mayor?
Thank you, Madam Chair. And then, so I guess just clear direction from Attorney Smith. You brought up that letter or the discussion to have a conversation with the board. Was there a request, or is there something on the table that needs to be addressed moving forward, where you're going to talk one-on-one with the board members?
I'll talk one-on-one with the board members, but I wanted to at least share correspondence that I've received with the board, with my client.
Right, and I think that without actually, getting to that point, that's where Dr. Spiritus was adamant about addressing the concerns. But I wanted to make sure that it was clear that you're going to meet with each board member to discuss what's the next steps.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. And all I had, Madam Chair, was just wanted to wish our director a happy birthday. He celebrated an amazing birthday yesterday. Happy birthday to him.
Happy birthday, sir.
Birthday.
Mr. Guy.
I have no happy birthday.
Commissioner Miller Anderson.
Hello, happy birthday, Mr. Merzier. And I could see you on this computer, I just want to say thank you to Ms. Doretta, and to those for bringing up the two items that she mentioned. Thank you to those of you from CRA who was able to attend the Leadership Palm Beach County Awards. It was an honor. I don't take it very lightly in receiving that. So I do appreciate everyone coming out. And then I think that's probably where I got sick at though. But I also have a book that I published back in January, but I am looking forward to the discussion of it with Mr. Brody's programs over there at the library this Saturday at 1 o'clock. So thank you so much, Ms. Doretta. And I didn't even ask her to say that. But thank you all. That's all I have.
Yes, still better, Commissioner Miller Anderson. Happy birthday to our executive director. With that being said, this meeting is adjourned.